Hi guys, today we've got an assortment of little projects that I'd like to get done. We've got some radishes to start, some lettuce starts to pot up, a basil plant that I want to get transplanted, some house plants that I picked up that I'd like to get potted up, and we're going to be zhuzhing up one of my Goodwill finds. So I picked up this table a couple weeks ago from Goodwill, and I just thought it was the cutest little thing. It's a mosaic tile top with some leaves and vines and flowers in it, and it sits on this wrought iron stand over here. And I just thought the whole thing was just cute. We could put maybe like a nice little one of the plants that we pot up. We could set it over there. I thought it would look good. So what we're going to do for this is I've already removed the screws from the top of the table, and let's get this set up over here. We're going to repaint the wrought iron because you can see it's kind of like a faded tarnished, like black and brown. So I picked up some paint. We're going to paint this real quick. We're going to polish this up with some glass cleaner, just something to kind of shine it all up, and then we're going to reassemble it and put it in the house. So you can see that the finish on here is this like bronzy brown with black speckling throughout. Mo said this is like a hammered finish look. So we went and picked up some Rust-Oleum hammered spray paint in brown. And I think this is going to match pretty closely. If it's a little lighter or a little darker, I'm not too worried about it. I think either way will be fine, but I think it'll match the tabletop as well. I didn't want to go with just straight black because I just thought the color contrast would be a little too much. And then I may put a protective clear coat over it, but undecided yet. But I do plan on just putting 2 coats on here, polishing this up a little bit, and reassembling the whole thing. I've got my cardboard that I pulled out of the recycling bin. I think I'm gonna set up on the lawn, get the first coat on, and while that dries, we'll start potting up all of our plants and stuff. This looks like a nice spot. All right, let's see how this looks. Oh, I think it's gonna look nice. It looks a hair lighter, but I'm okay with it. Just want to make sure all the little nooks and crannies are covered. Okay, first coat done. Oh, and I'm also going to turn the fan on just because there's a lot of gnats flying around, so I'm hoping the airflow will keep it'll keep any of the gnats from sticking to the stand. Okay, while the first coat dries, I want to start by planting up our radishes and our lettuce. So here's everything that we're going to be potting up today. I picked up 4 of these rectangular terracotta pots from Home Depot on clearance. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have these, so I picked up the last 4. We're going to be starting our radishes in 2 of them, and we're going to be planting the French breakfast and early scarlet globes again. We did this in the spring in the raised beds, and the results were so we're going to try it again. And then I picked up these romaine lettuce starts, and it's a 6-pack, but there's more than one plant in each one, so I think I've got like 11. So we're going to plant these in the remaining 2 terracotta pots. Then I've got this 8, I think it's an 8 or a 10-inch terracotta pot. We're going to be transplanting a basil plant from in between the tomato beds because it's just not getting enough light, and we're going to put it in a pot over here. And then I have these 3 4-inch terracotta pots, and we're going to be planting up these 3 Proven Winners Leaf Joy plants that I picked up. I've got the Snowy Mornings Pothos, which is a really pretty coloring. I love the variegation on this leaf. It's like a dark green with a lemony variegation. So pretty. We've got Off to Oz Pothos, which this is a like chartreuse type of coloring. It's really, really pretty. Oh, and it's already starting to trail. And then we have the Marble Queen, which I think this is probably my favorite because I love the coloring on this. But you can see there's Mo's name on both of them. On 2 of them, he's already claimed these. So we're gonna pot these up for Mo, and then we're gonna pot this one up, and then we'll find a spot. For the house plants, I've got some mosquito bits that I'm gonna toss into the soil when we pot them up. And then I've got some natural, which is basically the same thing. The only difference with this is you don't have to soak it in water for 30 minutes and then strain it. This dissolves right in water. I'm gonna use these to water everything in. So we'll have a double whammy to make sure that no fungus gnats come inside. We've got our setup over here, got some potting soil, our tidy tray, gloves, and more potting soil over here. I just added a little bit of water to rehydrate some of the soil, and this is what you want it to look like. You want it to hold its shape, but it's not dripping. And I'm just going to use the last of my garden tone just to get rid of it instead of biotone. Okay, so I'm just going to follow the back of the instructions. It says to plant the seeds a ½ inch deep. So I'm just going to sprinkle them on top and then cover them with a little bit of soil and water them all in. Okay, now we're going to dig up the basil and transplant it. See, it's right underneath the tomatoes, and when we planted it, it was fine, but now we're just going to pull it up. Whew. And you can see it's got some green on it, but it's got a lot of yellow. But we got a good root ball too. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Okay, got our root ball. Make sure the roots are all nice and tucked in. Make sure we're centered. And we're just gonna backfill it all in. Get it all nice and snug. It's got its own fresh pot with soil. It's gonna be in the full sun. It's gonna be so much happier. Doesn't it look just so much better? I'm also going to prune on it a little bit because it's a little lanky too. So normally what I like to do is I like to take it down to the next set of leaves, 2 little leaves, and just cut it off. And then we've got these leaves right over here, and they'll start to send out new stems. But this way it doesn't have to focus so much on all of this foliage right now. It's all droopy because it was reaching towards the sun. I think I'm going to take this one down. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so we took it down pretty much by half. You can see we've got all of this, which we can use for dinner tonight. I can just throw this in a salad, and you can see how it's just that yellowy leaves. It just needs some more direct sun, and it'll be happy as can be. And one other thing too is you want to regularly prune on your basil too, because the more you prune, the bushier it will get and the more stems it will send out, and you'll end up with just a nice canopy of foliage and leaves instead of what we just saw here, a lot of long, lanky, flimsy stems. But this is going to be so much happier. Okay, I'm going to get that placed, and then we're going to go over and put the second coat of paint on. We've got the second coat on, and I'm really liking the way it looks, so I'm not going to put the clear coat on it. I'm just going to leave it as is. So while the second coat's drying, we're going to pot up the 3 house plants, then we'll come back around and assemble the table. Okay, so this is the remaining soil. It's fully charged with biotone. I'm not going to put mosquito bits in it because we've got way too much here, and I'm going to use this for probably another project outdoors, so there's no need for it. So I'm just going to pot up our plants over here, and then we'll use the natural and water them in. That way they're watered in and they're also protected from fungus gnats. Let's just clean it all up over here. Honestly, you guys, it's always something with me. I'm so sorry. Okay, stay there. Nobody move. Okay. Let's try this again. 1, 2, 3. So I'm just using the nursery container as kind of like a mold and just filling soil up around the sides. That way I can just pull this out and pop the plant in and really don't have to mess with the root ball at all. But we're only going up about a ½ inch in size, and I'm purposely doing that because these are going into like a more shaded lower light room, so they're not going to grow out of these containers too fast. And if they do, I have hundreds of terracotta pots upstairs. We can always upsize. Or up pot. Yeah, that's it. Ooh, and it's starting to get hot out here. Okay, and I'm leaving about a ½ inch lip from the top, so when we water it, we don't make a giant mess like I have been known to do. And we'll remove it, pop this in, get it nice and snug in there. And just a tiny little bit of soil on top just to even things out. There we are. And I'll clean these up after we're all done. Oh, look at the root system on that. Ooh, it's still healthy though. Look at the color. Looks good. Dry though. These need watering. I had to get a little pot for this baby plant that came off of that one. So we're just gonna pot this up and create a whole other plant. It broke off, but it's still got its own root system right here. So it will root in and we'll have a fourth plant for free. Wasn't my intention, but sometimes you just gotta go with it. Just get that nice and anchored in. Pack a bunch of soil around it so it doesn't start to flop over. Pack it in nice and firm. Don't want to squish it in there, but you definitely want it firm. See how so it can stand upright a little bit? There we go. A free plant. And it's all nice and anchored in there. Beautiful. All right, guys, here they are. We actually ended up with 4 because a little piece of this plant broke off, so I repotted it into a smaller one. And then these are the 2 that Mo wants. So we've got those in a little separate pile over here so we don't mix them up. Oh, they look so good. Okay, I'm gonna get my area all cleaned up, get the plants watered because they're looking so sad, and then we'll finish the table. See what I mean? This is what happens to lettuce when you don't water it in right away. Okay guys, got the area all cleaned up. I've set up our little work table in the shade over here in the lawn so we can assemble this table. This is our little work table. I put a clean towel over top of it and I've got my tabletop right here. There's our stand, and this is the window cleaner, the glass cleaner that I'm going to be using to just shine this up a little bit. This stuff, you guys, is amazing. A little shake, a little spray. I've got a clean towel here. You can use a paper towel if you want. And you just wipe it all off. Ugh. Not too bad. I'm sure there's probably some mosaic tile specific cleaner, but this'll do just fine for our little zhuzh. And that's it. There we are. So Mo's coming out. We're going to assemble the table, bring it inside, find a place for it, and then I'll show you where it ends up. Do you like it?
Yeah, looks good.
I like the color, you guys. Look at this. It's a little bit lighter than what it originally was. And this is only 2 coats, but I think it looks really good. I'm just gonna, let me put the top down. So these are the 3 holes where the stand was fastened, but they're stripped. So we're just gonna drill new holes.
Go.
Ta-da!
Nice new beautiful plant stand.
There it is, you guys. I want to put these on the underneath of the feet so it doesn't scratch the wood because we're putting this on a wood surface. Don't go anywhere, you guys. These are the saucers that we're going to be putting the house plants in that we just potted up. I've glazed these so they're waterproof. I will put a link in the description box for the video, but basically it will keep the water from coming out the other side. Now, one other thing that I like to do, especially when I put these on a wood surface, is I like to flip them over, and I use the same felt pads that we just put on the plant stand. I like to put them on the bottom of the saucers, because if you put these on a wood surface or any other soft surface, if you slide them around, it will scratch it. So this is just an extra layer of protection. It's a little tip from me to you guys. And I usually just put 3 or 4, depends, right on the rim. I don't know exactly where I'm gonna put it, so I'm just gonna set it right here for now. Right by this window. Oh, I kind of like it there. Okay guys, so now we're gonna water in the house plants, and I'm gonna mix up some natural. So we have a little bit of fungus gnat protection, and I'm just going to use 1 scoop in this 1 quart watering can. And we'll get them all nice and watered in. I really like where those 2 plants ended up in the dining room. I'll probably tweak with it a little bit, but overall, really happy with it. The other 2 we have sitting on the table out here. They're still draining, and I'll let Mo figure out where he wants to put them. So let me show you where we put all of the radishes and the lettuce and everything that we potted up. So a few of our containers ended up on the back wall by the vegetable garden. We've got our 2 containers of radishes. These are the scarlet globes. These are the French breakfasts. We've got our basil plant that we transplanted. And this is a sweet mint plant that I repotted the other day. I think I got it on camera. I did it the same time that we did the clearance annuals. I think I got it on camera, but I'm not sure. Anyways, it's a sweet mint plant and it smells amazing. So all of these will sit here. They are in fresh soil, charged with biotone starter fertilizer, garden tone, watered in, full sun. They're all going to be really happy. And our 2 containers of lettuce ended up on the back kitchen porch right over here. And they're looking pretty sad right now, as they always do when I plant lettuce. It always wilts. It's very temperamental. It will correct itself overnight. Usually at nighttime when the temperature cools down, they will perk back up again. But this area on the kitchen porch, it gets mainly morning sun, a tiny little bit of afternoon sun for like an hour, and then the rest of the time it's in shade, which is good because romaine lettuce likes a part sun, part shade environment, and it will get it here. And again, fully charged soil, I think garden tone, biotone. One of the tones are in here, I can't remember. Watered in, ready to go. So I would say all in all, this was a very good day to get a bunch of little projects done. We got our Goodwill table find. We got that all zhuzhed up, painted and polished and placed. We got our radishes seeded, our lettuce repotted, our basil transplanted, and a few houseplants potted up and placed on our new table in the dining room. So all in all, I'm really happy with this day with all of these little projects done. It just feels so good to get them just checked off the checklist. The garden is full. The vegetable garden is full. So that is just kind of doing its own thing. So now's the time to kind of come in and get all of these little things done and cleared. So we're ready to go. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. I think it's time to clean everything up and go get some lunch with Mo. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.